for the invitation. I'm going to talk about what we are working in Roquencourt in our secret, it's called the secret team. We are working about what will happen. Well, there are several variants, but we are working about what will happen with public key cryptography if a quantum computer comes. So public key cryptography, we are talking about those crypto systems that do not need an exchange between sender and receiver, was introduced by Diffie and Hellman in 1976. Mathematically speaking, we are working with a one-way trapdown function that is easy in one direction, hard in the reverse direction, unless you have a trapdoor information. For example, if you have two numbers, it's easy to multiply them, but if you have a composite number, it's hard to obtain its factorization. And indeed, public key crypto systems are based just on three problems. Integer factorization, so we are talking about the RSA, discrete logarithms over finite fields, discrete logarithms over elliptic curves, and here you have a table with the size, comparing the size, the symmetric, Diffie-Hellman or RSA, and elliptic curve with discrete log. But are really this problem hard? I mean, not only we have the problem that a quantum computer will appear, but also are really these problems hard problems? James L. Massey said that a hard problem is a problem that nobody works on, so we cannot, if we think about this definition, we cannot say that these problems are hard problems. Indeed, there have been a lot of advances in a lot of new results. For example, in 2013, there was a new result that says that discrete log over a small finite field is broken. But what will happen if a quantum computers appear? Well, we have mainly two algorithms. We have Grover's algorithms that mainly says that symmetric cipher will have to double the key. And we also have Shor's algorithms that says that public key cryptography will the public key cryptography that we know nowadays will disappear. That does mean that we don't have anything. It's not true. We have other alternatives. And one alternative that we are working on is code-based cryptography. There are other alternatives like lattice-based cryptography, hash-based cryptography, cryptography based in multi-variables. But I'm going to talk about code-based cryptography. I have to say that it's true that nowadays there is no computers, large quantum computers, but it's true that the Snowden scandals in 2014 revealed that the NSA has spent $85 million per year on the research of building a quantum computer. And we can just suspect how much money is spent in other secret projects on quantum computers. And do we really need public key cryptography? Well, we really need it. There are a lot of people using public key cryptography in the daily life. For example, every time that we update an app or we use a credit card, apps, we are talking about 3 billion users, credit card, 1 billion users, and all the things that are there. So we really need alternative. And I'm going to talk about code-based cryptography. This code-based cryptography is based also in a one-way trapdoor function. So the easy part is that encoding something is very easy because it's just matrix multiplication. The hard part is that decoding a random linear code is NP complete. And the trapdoor information is that if we use some families of code that we know an efficient decoding algorithm, then we can do this hard part easy. So how can we use code-based cryptography? How can we use coding theory in cryptography? Mainly, the idea is that Alice adds a lot of errors, and Bob is the only one that can detect and correct those errors in an efficient way. The first person that talked about error-correcting codes in cryptography was McEliece in 1978, just 2 years later the introduction of public key crypto systems. The advantage, it has really fast encryption, and is an interesting candidate for quantum cryptography. The main drawback at that moment was the large key size, because They are working with GOPA code. They are working with really big sizes. Just a bit how it works. So we need to work with a family of code which has an efficient decoding algorithm. Otherwise, we don't have the trapdoor information, and it has to be indistinguishable from random code. So how we generate the keys? We need to use a generator matrix of a code of the family that we have chosen, and the secret key is going to be the efficient decoding algorithm. So the encryption algorithm is going to be you transform your message into a code word and you add some arrows, and the decryption is just you apply the decoding algorithm to retrieve the message. As I have said, these are the original parameters that McEliece proposed, so we really have big size of keys. And nowadays, we need to increase the parameters to have a good level of security. There have been lots of proposals to reduce the keys. So general Rep Solomon code, GOPA code was the one that McEliece proposed, subcodes, all these proposals. All what is in red was broken before 2010, and all what is in yellow was broken in the last 2 years. And a small part of GOPA code, but we cannot say that GOPA code is broken, and I don't think that GOPA code will be broken. But the problem is that we have big keys with GOPA code. What is the idea now? The idea now is to use another structure, as for example, quasi-cyclic MDPC code. Quasi-cyclic means that each row is obtained by cyclically shifting the first row. So we don't need to take care of the whole matrix, but just of some rows. And MDPC means that it has lots of zeros, and it has efficient decoding algorithm. So this is the idea now. In 2015, there was a project to identify the most promising public key crypto system. It was created by Bernstein and Tanya Lan. They measure different things, and they use 7 public key crypto systems. They use McEliece, but with GOPA code, not with MDPC code, and they use an N2 implementation and 5 size of RSA. The result is that McEliece is an interesting candidate. It's not the best one, but it's an interesting candidate. So the fast encryption was RSA and McEliece, and the fast decryption was N2 and McEliece. So as we have already said, McEliece is an interesting candidate. It has extremely fast encryption and reasonable fast decryption. The main drawback at that moment was the key size. And as I have already said, nowadays, using quasi-cyclic MDPC code, we can have similar keys as the RSA. So just to finish, code-based cryptography is a promising alternative that has fast encryption and decryption algorithms. It has reasonable key size if we use a good choice, for example, quasi-cyclic MDPC code, which is not the only one. And for the moment, it's secure against quantum computers. So that's all. Okay.